Hey, welcome everybody. This is Josh Thomas with Michael Blanc. I'm here with Rob Lutein, who is a graduate of our mentorship program. Hey, Rob.
Hey, how are you?
I'm awesome. It's so great to have you here. And you're going to talk to us a little bit about your experience in the mentorship program. And man, you really came out on fire and you closed a syndication deal. You capital raised for a handful of other deals. You got another one in the oven. So things are going pretty fast for you right now.
It's sort of a blur, and it all happened during the pandemic, which is even scarier. So I kind of look back. It's like, where did the pandemic go? Where did 2020 go? Because honestly, although it seemed forever, it was a really short time.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like I think there was some kind of joke about the five previous decades, or like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, and then 2020. It was
Yeah,
like 10 years long or something.
it felt that way.
Yeah, exactly. And so talk to us a little bit about you actually ended up partnering with your mentor on a couple of deals, and then you went and found your own. So first, talk to me about what was your experience with your mentor and in trying to get started on this syndication. Talk about that first, and then the opportunities that were presented to you once you were working.
Well, our biggest fear and what we really needed the mentorship for was capital raising. And my mentor, Phil Capron, he brought us on board for one of his deals and he offered us a capital raising spot. So he threw us right into our most uncomfortable situation. And we were basically tested by fire and went, okay, we'll capital raise. Sure. So we jumped out, started talking to some of our network, and we raised capital for him, and he brought us in on that project. And it's been a learning experience seeing what takes behind the scenes. It's like after you buy the property, okay, now there's managing it, asset managing it, dealing with the investors. So that was a real throwing us into the frying pan real quick and going, you've got to learn this.
Yeah.
So
Did you
I think,
sizzle in the frying pan?
oh, it sizzled. We got hot and it came out on fire. And honestly, that one was a great learning experience and pretty much a home run of a property. I mean, it's been smooth sailing on it.
That's great. And so you kind of took that knowledge of the trial by fire
Mhm.
and eventually were able to go out and complete your own syndication, basically completely on your own. Talk to me
Yes.
about that experience. Tell me a little bit about that deal.
Well, we found that deal in Longview, Texas, and we started basically doing the inspection and everything that's supposed to do on your due diligence. And we started talking to our investors at the same time. And a lot of people were in the same boat because that opportunity came up in October. So pretty much this was going to be the last syndication for anybody to take the tax advantages of it, the cost segregation, the bonus depreciation. So we had to get that thing closed no matter what in 2020. There was absolutely, otherwise it's a fail and the deal would not get done. So we went through the inspections, we went through getting the attorneys, the SEC paperwork, capital raising, and of course, every single lender takes December off. I learned the hard way. So we went over to the seller and negotiated with the seller. It's like saying, hey, um, we need to get this property closed. How about some seller financing? I mean, you just hold the property until February. We offered 2 months in interest only, prepaid at close. We did everything to entice him to agree, and he agreed to the seller financing. And December 23rd, we're signing paper and still dealing with the agency, still dealing with the inspections, still dealing with the appraisal, still dealing with the survey. I mean, everything that the lender basically put off for a month. And we had to pick that back up in January. And along with every single delay that happened there and some miscommunication between the lender and the closing attorney and the SEC attorney. But thankfully, the seller understood exactly what we were doing and was gracious and said, hey, you've got 2 months of interest only prepay. We're good. We closed, and our investors took advantage of a monster cost segregation bonus depreciation. And thankfully, we learned about that because otherwise, this property would not have gotten done. If
Wow.
this thing was going on to 2021, our investors would have walked because they needed the tax write-off. So
Wow. So that sounded like a really complicated deal, but you were able to get it done. And a lot of that came from the knowledge and confidence that you had of working with people who've done it before.
Yeah, I mean, we still called our mentor for, a couple of questions. We dealt with some other people that did it before, and honestly, it took the fear out of it because it's like looking back on it, it's like there were plenty of speed bumps, and a lot of times my wife and I looked at each other and went, "What the hell are we doing?" And when it's like, "This is crazy," it's like, "Why are we doing this to ourselves?" And just it's like, is this really worth it? And we kept on going, and it's like we kind of kept each other in check on it. It's like she was my accountability partner, I was her accountability partner, and then Phil was our third accountability partner. And went, "Guys, it's really not that hard. Just do it. You already did it before with me. This is easy. Just do it."
Yeah.
So charged ahead.
A lot of times what it really comes down to is when I'm talking to somebody who hasn't been through this experience before, and hasn't worked with somebody who's gone through it before, it's very much like, well, gosh, I mean, how much time do I get with my mentor? Because it's like I'm looking for this certain amount of time, then because I'm relating the time to the value. But
Mhm.
in this situation, it wasn't about how much time Phil was spending with you. It was about Phil saying, okay, look, this looks complicated, but here's the path through. And that may have been like one phone call or something.
It
And
was one or two phone calls,
yeah,
but it's it's a guide because the first time you do anything, no matter what it is, it's scary. I mean, the first time you ride a bike, it on two wheels, it's frightening. Now, no big deal.
yeah,
And honestly, we're moving on to our syndication now with my partners, a 246 unit. And we're sitting here going, okay, the raise is way larger. My first raise was 1.3 million. This one's about 5.1. We're sitting there going, okay, we'll get it done. It's not a big deal. As long as we've got an org chart, we got a flow chart. We're just following that. And it's like we learned it from the last time. It's like just follow the process.
and so you have another deal in the pipeline right now,
Mhm.
and that deal came from a relationship you built through the mentorship program.
Yeah, there are two other partners in this, Chris Roberts and Paul Wilcox, and we met through Michael Blank, and we met through Phil because we're all GPs on a couple of other properties, and we kept on talking to each other, and we all started having experiences and knowledge that kind of fit together. So we were all sort of like cogs in a wheel, and we were all trying to build the wheel. And we also found out a few times that we bid on the same properties. It's like, why are we competing with each other? I mean, it's just not worth it. And they had some knowledge that my wife and I didn't. My wife and I have some knowledge that they didn't. So we went, something, let's partner up and team up and conquer,
That's
because
great.
it's honestly great.
Yeah, a 246 unit property is no joke. That's
No.
quite an undertaking. You need as many eyeballs as possible on that deal.
Oh my God, one little thing slips up and we're going to be delayed weeks, and we have a hard closing deadline. So,
Yeah, you got it. Excellent. So, Rob, really appreciate you being on here. Any kind of final words or pieces of advice for anybody that is considering getting into this, that's considering mentorship? Just any words of wisdom that you would want to share to whoever's watching this video.
network like crazy. And when you get into the mentorship, it takes the fear out of it because you get to talk to people that have done this before, and you can call on them, and they kind of become your accountability person. And it kind of helps you along the way, because if you sit there and get stuck or hit a roadblock, and it's all mental, and it's mental because you haven't been through it and your mentor has. And if they don't have that, if it's something brand new to them, there's other people that you can call on and go, oh, wait, I think this guy's been through it, or this guy's been through it. So it's a depth of knowledge, and it's probably one of the best educations you can get.
Very well. Well said. Rob Lutein, thanks very much for joining us. And that's what was a 25 unit property. Your
Mhm.
syndication was a 25 unit property in
Yeah.
Longview, Texas.
Yes, it was.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Rob.
Thank you.